We're talking college sports in the Deep South where college football is king, and we talk about college football pretty much all year long. Once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT for Vernon Speak Sports, mostly talking about Auburn football and the rest of the SEC. Want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang, War Eagles. Some exciting news on the plains. Excuse me, at spring practice. We're about to finish up week 2 of the spring practice, and some questions are starting to be answered, and a couple of guys are starting to emerge. But we have some guys that have been around for a little bit, one of which is Cam Martin, who's been around the Auburn program since 2016. He used the hardship transfer rule because the Art Brow situation down at Baylor, and wound up being coming over to Auburn as a running back. Now, since his time, he's played most of a reserve role, but has been fairly productive. I think he's been decently productive as, first year with 303 yards. And after that, pretty much averaging about 400 yards per year. And I think this could be a good year, considering that Gus Malzahn will be calling plays again for a guy like Cam Martin, because, given Gus Malzahn's history, he likes to spread the football around. If you think about the 2013 season for the Auburn Tigers, you have situations where Trey Mason had 1,800 yards, Nick Marshall with 1,068 yards running the football. And then you look at the spread around where you had Cameron Artis-Payne with 610 and Corey Grant with 647 yards. And that could be somewhat of a way that the Auburn offense is going to look this year, with very run-heavy production. So that bodes very well for a guy like Cam Martin, who, is kind of that change of pace kind of back. He definitely has plenty of capability. He did get most of the touches in the Purdue game, but that was kind of a small sample size because that game was well in hand by halftime. So you can look for Gus Malzahn and Kenny Dillingham to do a great job of spreading the ball around. Of course, given the quarterback battle, you will have a dual threat quarterback, which I'm projecting is kind of sort of looking like it might be Joey Gatewood at the starting position, with Malik Willis being the backup, and Bo Nix and Cord Sandberg kind of fighting for that third spot, with the prospect of Bo Nix actually being a red shirt, because you have 4 games that you can actually play. And I think Auburn needs to really choose the games that, Bo Nix appears in very wisely. But for all intents and purposes, I just don't think Bo Nix will be the starter, but he's definitely, with his skill set and with his running ability, definitely the quarterback of the future for the Auburn Tigers. Now, Cam Martin will have to share touches with Sean Shivers, Boobie Whitlow, and probably Mark Anthony Richards. You got DJ Williams, who came along late in the recruiting process, that could be part of the program. But Auburn is in very good shape as far as from a skill position standpoint. And I think Cam Martin could potentially have a very good year for the Auburn Tigers, looking at maybe 700-800 yards, depending on how the ball is distributed around and how he fits into the rhythm of the run-pass option offense. I feel very good about the role that Cam Martin will play. He's been very patient. He's put on a little bit more weight, so he could probably, stand the rigors of the SEC, as far as from a durability standpoint. But the good news is, because of the depth at running back, you won't have a situation like in 2017 where, Kerryon Johnson got most of the carries, but then when he goes down in the Alabama game going into the SEC championship, Auburn just really didn't have any options that they trusted. In my honest opinion, back in 2017, I think, a chance should have been taken on Cam Martin to kind of take that lead role in the SEC championship as somewhat of a change of pace, because he did have some success even interior running the football against Georgia. So I just am kind of puzzled as to why he wasn't utilized more in that 2017 game. So there's reason for excitement as it relates to the Auburn offense, because there's just so many options. When you look at the receiver position, you're talking about Seth Williams, you're talking about Sal Cannella, who could have, kind of play that C.J. Uzomah type role and maybe even be a little bit more productive than C.J. Uzomah, because in my honest opinion, I think Sal Cannella actually has a little bit more athleticism than C.J. Uzomah have, and there's a lot more ways that you can utilize Sal Cannella's talent. And, of course, you have the return of Will Hastings and Eli Stove. And then you'll have Anthony Schwartz, who will be coming back in the fall. He committed to track during the offseason. Also, at the running back position, you have that change of pace in Sean Shivers, who was very productive last year. He also will be participating in track during the spring football training. So you won't see either of those two guys in the spring game in a couple of weeks. So I think Cam Martin is in very good position. He's a very, very versatile running back. I would like to see how he does as far as catching the ball out of the backfield, because he's so quick and he can, really be one of those game-breaking kind of guys, kind of like how Corey Grant and, say, Ontario McCaleb was back in the mid 2009, 2010 for the Auburn Tigers. So we're very excited about, the offensive production and how they will actually help supplement the defense with more time of possession, more first down, which is something that is very, very indicative of a Gus Malzahn run offense from a play calling standpoint. So we'll look out for this. We'll see how this story develops. Once again, it's Case to the GOAT for Vernon Speaks Sports. Subscribe to my channel. There's a lot of good comments in these videos. You all have a good night, and War Eagle.